Hi everyone, I'm Nikki from the Czech organization NVS, and we did the project Municipality 16 Plus, where we developed this game MUNICIPO. And I'm about to show you how to play it, so let's get to it. So, what are you gonna find in the box? Here is a game card for the final evaluation. This is a game board. Here are some reference cards that you're gonna need. And here are players' bags. Tokens with the dices and public idea cards. The game card has two sides. One of them is game preparation and the other one is game evaluation. On the first side, you can find different role combinations you should use depending on the number of players playing the game. Let's try a 3-player game. So we're gonna use yellow, orange, and green roles. At the beginning of each game, you put down 4 public project cards right next to the game board and leave the pack next to it. You put the area tokens in the correct column and row, depending on the number of players playing. And you put the player tokens on the starting position as well. Each player now has their role that should represent one group from our municipality. For example, pensioners, students, parents, workers, etc. We all have different supported areas and the ones that we don't want to support. But yet we all have the same goal to make our municipality a better place to live. Now that you have your role and your preferences, you can look at your idea cards. You can look at them like that, where you can see the supported areas. But to everybody else, these values should be a secret. So when you're laying it down, you should be laying it down this side. So everybody can only see the areas that are supported or not supported, but not the actual value that you can see. Next thing you find is support cards. They are pretty small and you have many of them on your hand. If you're playing with 3 players only, you shouldn't use those that have these 4+, 5+, and 6 icons. So you should put them aside. In your hand, you only have those that doesn't have any player number on it, if you're playing a game of 3. Next thing you find in your bag are the participation mechanisms. They can be used negatively or positively to support or not support a project. They have different names according to the things they represent. Let's get started. The starting player has the secretary token. Each player now chooses 2 projects that they want to present. Let's say I want to present this dance festival, and the second is this art program for kids. Now I should say a few things about it and convince other players to vote for it later. When I finish my presentation, it's the next player's turn. They also choose 2 projects. Again, they say a few things about it, why you should vote for it. And let's move on to the last player, who chooses a cinema and a healthy food festival. Now, everybody finished their presentation. It's time to vote. You have 4 voting cards. There are 6 projects. You should use all your voting cards, meaning you can only vote for 4 projects. You can vote also with negative votes. Okay, let's divide these votes. Now, if you wonder who proposed that project, you can see the color of the player's role right here on the left bottom corner. If you use one of the public ideas, they have no icon, meaning that you should use this token to assign it to yourself. Of course, you can vote for yourself as well. So, let's assign secretly all of your votes to different ideas and wait for the other players to do the same. The voting is done. Now, let's do some math. You should turn over all of the votes now. In these blue bubbles, you can see the value of each project or the votes that it needs to have to be implemented. Now, half of the projects will be approved and moved to the next round, and half of them will be eliminated. So the ones with the highest number of votes will continue to the next round. The rest of them will be returned to each players. You put the support dice on each project with the according number of votes that it got. Let's move on to the second part, where you can use your participation mechanisms. Now, you have to choose wisely because you have to explain each participation mechanism. If you don't explain it correctly, the vote won't be accepted. Each player, again, secretly assign their vote to the project. You can use only 2 participation mechanisms. You can use either minus points or the plus points as a support, depending on the side. Now that everybody has assigned their participation mechanisms, let's turn them over, starting with the secretary. And now they have to explain why they used these participation mechanisms on this specific project. If the facilitator thinks the mechanism is not correct, they can deny it and their vote won't be counted. Continuing with the next player, they also have to explain why they use this mechanism, and the facilitator has to say it's correct and approve it. Same with every other player. Now the votes are counted again. If the project have the minimum votes that it needs, that means that it has been approved and implemented. You can turn it over and see the values. Let's count your personal votes. Since all of the projects are approved, you get positive points if you voted positively, but negative points if you voted negatively on a project that has been approved. If this project was not approved, you get positive points because you voted negatively and you succeeded. So, yellow player has 1 and 2 points for voting positively for a supported project. Let's move him up 2. The green player has 1 point for positive voting on an approved project, but 1 negative point for negative voting because the project did get approved. So he doesn't move anywhere. The orange player has 1 point for positive voting and as well 1 negative point because the project did get approved, but he voted for it not to get approved. So he doesn't move anywhere as well. Aside from your points from the participation mechanism that you used correctly, you get a point for each of your projects that has been approved. That means that each player now has 1 point. Now let's put the approved projects values into our board. Now you can see the culture has complete points of 3, so you move it up to 3. Same with all of the area's tokens. Your goal as a municipality is to have all these area tokens above the red rows. Only this way you can win as a society. Now the first run is done. Good job. You put the supported project aside and discard all of the mechanisms. You cannot use them anymore in this game. Great, and this is basically it. You continue the next round just the same as you did the previous round. Everybody present their projects. You vote again. Count the votings again. Top 3 project move to the second round, where you use your participation mechanisms again. Then the beginning player has to explain their participation mechanisms to the facilitator. And when everybody explains, you count in the votes again, your personal points again, and the points for the project that has been approved. Then you turn over the supported project again and count in the points of the areas again. If you ever wonder how to count your points properly, you can always look at the overview card where you can find all the needed information. After you finish your third round, the game is officially over. You can turn over this game card and do the evaluation. Are all the area tokens above the red? Great job, you succeeded as a municipality. Now you can look to the game card to count all the points properly and see how you are doing as a society. Then you count your personal votes, and whoever has the most is the hero of this municipality and gets a statue built right on your square.